I'm Ben Upward, CEO of GlobalChain Group, Birmingham, Michigan. GlobalChain Group is a digital investment bank that connects companies with investors. So, in the summer of last year, we came up with a new solution to an old problem. What's the old problem? Private securities. Private securities suffer from lack of liquidity, limited individual investor access, and little available company information. Then we asked ourselves, okay, we've identified the problem. How big is this problem? So we looked at the total addressable market, just one of the verticals that we were analyzing, U.S. commercial real estate market, and we saw, wow, it's pretty big, 32 trillion. So how are we going to solve this problem? Well, we were heavily involved in what's going on in the blockchain world from an asset management perspective, and we were actively involved in trading and investing in Bitcoin and Ethereum and other blockchain assets. And we said, well, the technology is right there. We can use the blockchain technology, and some of our partners from Asia Pacific, Centrality, CTIA, Token Generator, they have the distribution, the technology, and the blockchain know-how to really put a solution together for this. So we came up with our mission statement. GlobalChain Group will construct a top echelon, full-service ecosystem that offers best-in-class issuance, fundraising, and secondary market capabilities, focusing on the tokenization of U.S. private operating companies and commercial real estate. This will give issuers access to new pools of investors, unlock true enterprise value and price discovery, democratize access to private assets, and attempt to give illiquid securities some liquidity. So our timeline, our journey that we've been on here since last summer, we founded the company in Michigan in July. We got investments from some of our strategic partners in Asia Pacific in August and October. In November, we purchased a broker-dealer in Tennessee. We're still waiting for FINRA to approve that, but our window ends in June, so hopefully that'll go through. And then since then, we've been building partnerships and infrastructure, vetting deal pipelines, and partnering with other broker-dealers to increase our distribution network. The target verticals, as I mentioned before, that we're focusing on, commercial real estate and blockchain software companies. The way this works is pretty simple, we think. The GCG process for the issuer comes to GlobalChain, or GlobalChain goes out and seeks the issuer. GlobalChain does its due diligence and gives its stamp of approval with our various network providers. Then the data is loaded into the investor portal, and then the digital shares are minted. The investor does something similar. The investor logs onto the investor portal, goes through KYC, AML, OFAC, suitability, a bunch of other things, but it's all pretty streamlined in the investor portal. Once they finish verification, they send their money into an escrow agent. Once the deal hits its minimum cap, the money is taken from escrow and sent to the issuer. And then at the same time, the minted digital shares are sent to the investor. Differentiators for GlobalChain, our technology, our partnerships with Centrality and New Zealand. They have a blockchain studio there with 65 blockchain developers, and they built our investment portal called Token Generator. The broker-dealer, Brandon and I have been licensed, and the broker-dealer is under contract and waiting FINRA approval. Although it's not been approved yet, I'd say that we're still ahead of many of our competitors in that respect. And then our alliances, we've got quite a bit of alliances that we've built up through some of the investing that we've done outside of GlobalChain in the blockchain ecosphere. GCG plan that we put together. One of the key things to highlight here is the opportunity. There's still very little competition in the investment banking, the digital investment banking world. We think we have an early mover advantage. I won't go through all the service offerings and strategic alliances, but we have different phases to our plan, and eventually we want to be able to build an ATS, alternative trading system, which is like a light version of an exchange, where these companies that we're tokenizing and minting digital shares can end up trading. regulatory landscape evens out a little bit is to be able to go downstream as far as possible and go into non-accredited space so that investors of any size can invest very low denominated amounts into these deals. Business model is pretty straightforward. Private placement services, platform as a service. The first part is the broker-dealer model, then the ecosystem master services agreement, trading revenue share through BD referral fees. Won't get into the deal pipeline. If you please feel free to reach out if you'd like to learn more about that. And that's my pitch.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you. This is Anna Taylor with bfractal.io. I had a question about your fees. So are you going to have one flat fee for each contract that you're interfacing with along that journey? Or are you going to have little fees that add up between each smart contract? Or can you just talk about like what kind of fees you can expect for all the in-betweens?
Sure. There's a couple different levels of fees. In general, what we're trying to do at GlobalChain is take what's called a success fee or a commission. So if we're able to raise through our distribution network $10 million, we'll take a certain amount of commission off of that for getting the company that money. Once it's past that stage and it gets onto the blockchain, then it's more up to the exchanges and the brokers how much they charge. At first, we won't have that under our umbrella yet. That's a pretty big development, but there's others like T0 and Templum that have different fees. So the company would list on there just like they would list on New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ. And they would be subject to whatever the broker wanted to charge them or whatever the exchange wanted to charge them. So
like summarize that, it would be kind of a market would determine that, and it might be like 5 individual transaction fees that may occur within that process of your 5 steps.
Yeah, you could break it up too between the primary market, which is kind of what I referred to first, on the success fee basis. So just like in a regular investment banking transaction, Uber comes to the market, they're going to pay their investment bank X amount for raising $400 million from the street. Okay, that's done. Now all of a sudden it's listed on NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange, and then that is sort of the second piece where the company is now listed and there's transaction fees that go along with that.
Thanks. I was thinking from a user perspective, like what can we expect? You know what I mean? So thank you very much.
So this is basically a private placement for the asset. So this is already in place. You are trying to tokenize it. So under what regulation, like under what SEC regulation, you believe this can be done today?
Yeah, we're going to start with Reg D offerings to accredited investors. We'd like I mentioned before, to move downstream and to get into the Reg A and crowdfunding space where non-accredited investors can participate.
But most of those regulations do not allow transfer of in secondary market. You need to have the same set of investors in the deal. So if you tokenize it and you're trying to list those tokens, and you talked about secondary market liquidity, those regulations do not allow any liquidity in those assets. You need to have the same set of investors under the private placement deal.
Well, under Reg D, you can have up to 2,000 investors for a private company. There's actually a rule called 4A7 where accredited investors can trade amongst each other after a 90-day window, peer-to-peer, and then once the 1-year lockup is over at Reg D, then under Rule 144, you can trade freely, and even non-accredited investors, if the broker is willing to onboard them and do the KYC AML for them, they can actually trade as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brandon. Please give him a hand.